Welcome back to Brashonomics, and it's Monday, so we're going to talk a little mortgage. Ryan Leopold does join us from Cobalt Mortgage with nearly $1 billion in loans funded. He knows the market. He knows how to close loans. And so, Ryan, I want to get into helping buyers in the competitive market, but it is on the news. Rates are, again, dipping lower and lower and lower. It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, you start seeing interest rates in the mid to low threes, and in some cases, seeing them below 3%. That's just... I mean, it's really unheard of. If you look over the last 50 years, the average interest rates have been about 7.5% to 8%. And in some cases, we're under 3%. So it's crazy. And I can imagine how tough it is for buyers right now, seeing those low interest rates, but not having that inventory of properties to choose from. That's got to be tough, and it's got to be stressful. And we still see it every day with buyers that we run across, helping them with the mortgage side.
So how do, if people are out there and they're like, I mean, you see the low rates, it's on the news, and then they go lower, and then they bounce up to like 3 3/8, right?
Right.
And,
so high.
So high.
So
right?
high.
But how do you help somebody maybe navigate through the real estate process, but with that focus on lending, so that they don't have so much anxiety towards the loan?
I think first and foremost, any buyer, whether it's a first-time home buyer or someone who's bought multiple homes in the past, is everybody needs to get educated and or re-educated about the market as a whole. And our biggest challenge sometimes is people that have bought multiple homes in the past getting used to the new mortgage world we live in and kind of getting adapted to the things that we need and the processes that we need to assure that we have a smooth closing and everything gets closed on time, and ideally having actually a great experience at the end of the day, which is a lot tougher to do today than it's ever been. So it's all takes a buyer and a lender working together to create that great experience. So, okay, and a lot of times, lenders are referred by real estate agents, and there's kind of that team approach. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Mm-hmm. A lot of people go online for loans. So when you talk about getting from point A to point B, where should somebody start? Because, a loan is, most people don't have $500,000, $600,000, $800,000 in cash to just go plunk down in a briefcase, or I guess wire it out of an account. I don't know. So, how does somebody find the right lender who will close the loan? Well, I think first and foremost, they got to, buyers got to sit with what we always talk about is what is the highest probability of getting a home under contract in a competitive market like we're in today. Kaylin and Danielle were both talking about that inventory is really low and it's tough for buyers to find that perfect property. So there are certain things that a buyer can do to, have the highest chance of getting a home under contract. And first and foremost is getting pre-approved with a local reputable lender who has a great reputation in the marketplace, because I'm sure Daniela and Kaylin would agree when there's multiple offers and a listing agent sees different lenders, that they're going to pick and choose and kind of encourage their buyer to take different offers based on who that lender is. So I think that's first and foremost. Pick a local reputable lender who has a great reputation of getting things closed. And that's what buyers can do to have the highest probability.
And there's a lot of there's a lot of lenders around. There's a lot of good local lenders around. When you start looking at, why, how does it help them? How does it help them get the deal? How does it help them get the actual?
Yeah, well, yesterday, for example, we had actually a listing agent call me specifically and says, hey, have you met with these people? Tell me a little bit about them. Tell me a little bit about your experience as a lender, because they're kind of gauging, who are we going to choose? These are all kind of the same offers. The mortgage side is such a huge part of that. So just having that conversation with a listing agent and just saying, okay, it's a local lender that I've heard of. We've had great experiences with them in the past. I'm talking to the actual lender who's actually met with the client and they feel 100% comfortable about the pre-approval letter they've issued. It held a lot of weight. And so we got the offer accepted over 7 other offers simply because of the, just a lender in this area that people have heard of and having a great conversation with the actual lender.
When you find that a lender that you want, that they're working with, and that it's interesting, because I don't think that a lot of home buyers out there consider the lenders kind of part of that team that helps them get the deal. It's usually the guy who gets the money. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a different concept.
I think today more than ever, and I always encourage the real estate community as a whole to be working together with their lenders today more than ever. So I really think it's a team effort between a buyer, a lender, and a real estate agent, all again working together for the best interest of that buyer to help them get the home they want, especially in a competitive market. So I think if you can have that team approach and that team dynamic, I think it increases the probability of the buyer achieving their objectives that much more. And so I just really think that's key today, especially in a competitive market.
So as we go into, as we talked about, a lot of people want to get into homes before the holidays. People are excited, rates continue to go down. Now prices are going up, which ends up creating more demand. What are some strategies that you have used to actually help people other than just talking to maybe the listing agent?
Yeah, so this first two we talked about really have helped out a ton. And I think a couple of the things that I've found, which we work a lot with our partners on the real estate side, is kind of going a little bit old school of what we did in a competitive market that we had back in like 2003, 2005, is write a great cover letter. Have a buyer write a great cover letter when they make that offer and really approach a seller from an emotional standpoint. My wife and I sold our home back in December, and we got multiple offers, and literally they had a cover letter that was just really nice. We read it. We talked about it together. We took an offer that was less than other offers because we want these people to buy our home, not other people who's all about the finances side of it. So I think that's underutilized today.
So the families with the kid that's crying while his dad's on his way to work.
It's amazing. Just be truthful about it and be heartfelt, and really, when you make these offers, a lot of it comes down to the finances, but these are real people who have lived in their home for, in some cases, a long time, and they want a family to come in and love it as much as they have for the last 15 to 20 years. So a great cover letter, it helps a ton. It really does.
And then you also mentioned maybe a picture so you can see the people.
I'm telling you, it works. You go out and say, okay, you love this house. You know there's going to be 7 or 8 offers. Go in front of the house with your family, with your kids, with your dog, with your cat. Take a picture in front of the home that you're making an offer on. You'll blow them away if you have an offer that you send in along with a cover letter and a picture of your family in front of their house. Why would you not take that offer?
Why not take it a step further? Let's get little Johnny in the room while you're showing it.
Take little Johnny to the front door.
Yeah, I mean, you could create a whole photo album of them like growing up, put their head on growing kids as they go through.
It's endless what you can do.
Graduation caps at the local high school.
You can do like an open house. You can start putting the marks on where they're growing on the... Here's Johnny at 4 years old. Start putting the marks on the wall.
He's currently a little nug, wrapped up in a blanket, and all of a sudden...
It's endless what you can do.
That would be telling a story, wouldn't it?
You got to go deep. It's competitive, man. You got to get crazy.
I want to ask these guys when they come back what they think a seller with. It could be a little bit.
Let's put it all on the table.
Just put it all on the table. We're with Ryan Leopold with Cobalt Mortgage, discussing a little bit about what you can do in a competitive market and how your lender can help. So Ryan, I do want to just hit on rates a little bit because that is the number one question that we hear.
Yep.
People call, they want to know what's going on with interest rates, and we do see them going down, and they've ticked up and down, kind of dragging along this bottom. We've talked about it like a broken record, because it's tough to imagine them getting lower. Now that we have QE3, we basically have unlimited purchases of mortgage-backed securities. How much can they go lower? I mean, is it safe to say one way or another?
Well, it's a tough question to answer from the standpoint. Of course, they can go lower. We've talked about it on the show for the last 12 months that, I don't see there's any way they can go lower. It's the lowest they've ever been. And then the next week we have the show and we say, well, rates have hit new lows again. So, of course, I think there's always the opportunity for them to go lower, especially with government's involvement with QE3 and what they've done with quantitative easing before. I think the real key is just everybody has an objective of what they're trying to accomplish. It shouldn't really be about, okay, I'm not going to buy a home today because the interest rates are not at 2.75 on a 30-year fix. That makes no sense. No sense at all. So I think it's just really being prepared and organizing the market when it comes to the lending side of things. And when the perfect property presents itself, be in a position to take action and being prepared and organized to make sure that A, you get the property under contract, and B, you get the loan closed.
And then also, now we have this new piece that's coming into play that will actually raise interest rates a hair.
Yeah, so what you found, which a lot of people do not know about, is you have this tug of war between Congress and the Feds and the Treasury. Okay, the Treasury wants to keep interest rates low. Okay, Congress and the Fed want to use these low interest rates and their control over Fannie and Freddie to basically, in a way, tax interest rates to create revenue for other things. So you've had actually multiple times that the Congress has gone in and used Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to basically add premiums to interest rates to make more money, and that's happened multiple times. So you keep having that. You have the Fed trying to lower interest rates, the Treasury trying to lower interest rates over here, and the Fed and Congress coming in trying to raise them and cap money. So rates should actually be a lot lower than they are, which is hard to believe. But that is happening and could continue to happen.
And we're talking about this guarantee fee, which is basically something that is going to be implemented here in the next, I don't know, I think it starts 2 weeks. And
it's already been priced into a lot of loans, so you're already seeing the pricing in there now. The delivery to Fannie and Freddie will happen in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and so now basically rates have ticked up a little bit, and so it's tough to imagine them going lower. And I don't know if lower interest rates is going to help the housing market, as you said. I don't know how many people are like, gosh, I'm gonna wait till they get to the ones, and then I'm gonna dive in. Hey Ryan, thanks so much for joining us again. Ryan Leopold of Cobalt Mortgage. When we come back, Heather Moore will join us along with our in studio guests. We'll be back after this break.